Unforgiven is screen legend Clint Eastwood's magnum opus in my book. Now, I'm a gigantic Westerns fan. I am no means an expert, but for me it's John Wayne and it's Clint Eastwood. You know, John Wayne, The Searchers, Rio Bravo, She Wore a Yellow Ribbon, you know, and obviously Clint Eastwood, you've got Good, the Bad and the Ugly, Outlaw Josie Wales, Hang 'em High, you know, just some spectacular films. And I always can never decide between Clint Eastwood and John Wayne, but you know what, this movie may have solidified that decision. This is just an absolutely incredible piece of work. It basically tells the story of this cowboy gang who commit an atrocity against a group of prostitutes by slashing one of their faces and just committing violence and evil acts. And then this young gunslinger goes to visit this retired kind of hitman, gunman, Will, played by Clint Eastwood, and tries to enlist him to kind of get the reward for killing these, you know, cowboys. And Will is now a family man. His wife is dead, but he looks after his children. He's not involved in that life anymore, but for the money he agrees to go. And of course he enlists the help of his old partner Ned, played by Morgan Freeman. Jaimz Woolvett plays the young gunslinger who asks Will to go with him. And I've never seen this actor in anything, you know, but he's really, really good in this. So I'm gonna have to look him up, find out what else he did. Unforgiven is a haunting, dark, bleak, serious, measured, slow-paced, absolute masterpiece in my book. It's unlike any Western ever made, in my opinion, because it's really examining the genre. Now, what this whole film is about the concept of taking a life. It literally is. That's the entirety of this film in my book. It's just a constant discussion of what it means to take a life, how it feels to take a life, the effect of taking a life, the ramifications, how it can leave the killer haunted, what it does to the families, what it does to people around. The act of taking a life, you know, it's all about that. You know, it's all about the finality of making that decision. Obviously in cowboy movies and in Western movies, the decision is made so many times, all the time. And this movie's like, right, what are the ramifications of that decision? Clint Eastwood plays a haunted man. You know, Will is so affected by what he's done, but he's shut off from the world because of it. You know, he has the regret inside, the deep wish, and you know, he sees the people he's killed in his head in his old life, but that monster is still in there. He's a corrupted man. You know, it's very much a film about how decisions you make shape you, and there are some decisions made that you can never leave behind. Will is a murderer, you know, and he engaged in so many murders. Even if he settles down with a wife and kids, he's still that evil person inside because he gave his life over to all this just senseless killing over and over again. And, you know, he's trying to be a good person. He's trying to move on from it. But he's done so much. He's kind of just almost sacrificed his humanity. He's a man in search of his humanity, but it's difficult for him to find it.
It's a hell of a thing, killing a man. Take away all he's got and all he's ever gonna have.
Yeah. Well, I guess they had it coming.
We all have it coming, kid.
Ned, played by Morgan Freeman, is a fantastic performance. Morgan Freeman's always great. Ned is Will's old partner. He was there during the time when he was in his heyday of killings, and Ned has done some killings too. And there's a spectacular moment where the three men, Ned, Will, and we only know him as the Schofield Kid, it's Jaimz, Woolvett's character, and they're talking about how many lives they've taken. And this young, you know, swagger-filled gunslinger, the Schofield Kid, says he's killed 5 people, you know, and he just brags about it. For him, it's kind of a notch in your cap, it's an impressive thing, but when Ned and Will are asked about it, they just don't want to ask it. You see such loss and soul-crushing disappointment behind the eyes of these 2 veteran men. You know, so much regret are in their eyes, so much realising they can't change what they did. And there's so many moments of this, so many little bits of dialogue where they discuss what it means to take a life. Gene Hackman plays a arsehole sheriff in this, which is one of the greatest performances in the film. There's a scene where Gene Hackman challenges his kind of right-hand man to pull the trigger on him, because he says it's such an awesome, you know, life-altering, crazy decision to pull that trigger. And that is a tense-filled scene. There is so many gripping, tense-filled moments in this film. Clint Eastwood is a phenomenal director. You know, not is he one of the most brilliant actors of all time, he is a staggering director. You know, his camera work is incredible here. It's beautiful at times. It captures everything you want from a Western, you know, seeing them riding through the fields and this and that with just wonderful, you know, epic scale. But it's also so bleak and dark and measured, his direction, you know. It's the film looks spectacular, and so many sort of close-ups and a desire to show people's facial expressions, a desire to show people thinking things through and what's going on behind the eyes. And he's great at tense moments, Clint Eastwood, you know. He's great at moments that get you on the edge of your seat, like that Gene Hackman scene.
Go on, cock. Now you gotta point it. Go on, point it. Now all you gotta do is pull the trigger, mister.
Gene Hackman as this sheriff is fantastic. He's so terrifying, you know. He's in control of his town, and he just reigns through fear, you know, and he's obsessed himself with the idea of killing. There's not many big action scenes or big shootouts in the movie. There is a few, which are really, really good. But ultimately, it really is about the character interactions. It really, really is about the ideas and the themes. Is a person too far gone if they've made mistakes in the past? Is a person just one event away from becoming that bad person they were in the past because they kind of scarred their moral character through what they used to do? And, you know, moments of Morgan Freeman and Clint Eastwood looking at each other. They both have seen the wars each other have, and they both want the best for each other, but they just realise how broken they are as people, and how they're very limited in what they can change about themselves because of their past. Again, you know, this is such a unique approach to the Western genre. It's a film about what it would actually be like to live in this time. You know, it's always presented as fun and wild and crazy. It would probably be a time of great trauma and of great regret and of great, you know, frustration and confusion because people were killing each other left and right. It's a film about the reality of taking a human life. It's also a film about legends, you know, and about the stories that we hear of these outlaws. Were they really true? Lots of stories about Will in this, that he denies what was true and what wasn't. A film about how we idolised these characters, but what is actually true at the end of the day. And it's a film about, in the Wild West, who was guilty and who wasn't guilty, who was bad and who wasn't bad in such a cutthroat time. You know, how do we determine who deserves to live and die when everyone's going around killing each other anyway? I just thought Unforgiven is an absolute masterpiece. It took me so long to watch this, but you know, after getting further into Westerns and Clint Eastwood's films, it's a stunning piece of work. It's probably my favourite Clint Eastwood film. It would probably go into my top 50 favourite films of all time. I think it's masterfully made. It's so slow paced, takes its time, but it builds and builds to a harrowing and heartbreaking crescendo. You guys should definitely watch Unforgiven. It is a must-see. Even if you've got no interest in Westerns, it is a must-see movie. It is an absolute masterpiece. Thanks for watching, everyone. Let me know if you've seen Unforgiven in the comments below. What's your favourite Clint Eastwood movie? Please subscribe to this channel if you're a movie geek just like me, and I will see you guys in the next video.